effectively built/maintained positive reporting tool.
Okay. Natalie, during your opening statement, it was effective when you explained to Haley that you realized she had a hotel in mind, but you also wanted to explore more options. Use the breakthrough strategy of don't push build them a golden bridge by involving her in the solution.
All right, now let me go back to literally what Brian said. You said you had another hotel in mind, but, and then you changed it to and.
I had it written down as and, so it's my fault.
Okay. No. I'm not looking for fault, but I'm looking to illustrate how easy it is to do that. Because we've all been socialized to say things like, I totally agree, but. In one of the mediations that was done this morning in 223, and the parties were going back and forth, each one of them must have said, oh, I agree, but. That's a good idea, but. You have to get used to switching it to and then it makes it much more effective. I know you have another hotel in mind, and I am thinking of one too. What an opportunity for us to have. See, then it doesn't look like a disagreement. It looks like you're joining. Okay, all right?
Now, they avoid terms such as good, they are vague and subject to interpretation.
Haley, I thought it was effective that you didn't make any solid promises to feature both of the hotels in the issue, and that you suggested that you check with Regency first before you committed.
Okay. I want to clarify before I make my statement. You did give her an option to write like an article on
to assist in an article.
Okay. All right. So I was saying that giving Natalie the option to write her own piece was an effective option for her to save face.
Haley, when you said at the beginning your contract with Regency, you said it was pretty much almost defined. That was a little too vague. It's either or.
And in fact, the quote was pretty much almost solidified.
Haley, I thought that the idea that you gave for taking the staff to experience what the hotel would be like was a very creative and effective idea of communicating the article.
And what it also does, if the Regency says, no, we don't want to do that, at least they could feature Natalie's article, and then that would be a segue to using the Fisher Valley in a future edition. Okay.
Tim?
Haley used the term step on their toes. It would have been more effective to use more literal language, such as present them with a problem. I think you caught it as soon as you said it to me.
Okay. Haley, very effective to say that's something to consider. That's acknowledgement, but there's no implication of agreement. And that's what we call sort of level 4 negotiating. Because you don't want to say, yeah. You say, oh, that's something to consider, and you did it enthusiastically. Right? It's also a very interesting tactic to say, I hadn't thought of that, even if you have, because what does it do? It flatters the other person, and it causes them to feel more comfortable about disclosing their interests. Right? Because if you had said, by contrast, well, what made you think of something like that? It's a completely different thought. All right? Let's see. Effective to summarize at the end, and I started to write down when you said we need to meet as soon as possible and be specific, but then you said later this week and actually set a date. Natalie, effective to say you remembered the memo, right? Because what that did was, even if you disagreed with the fact that Regency should be used, you can say, I'm aware of the fact that you've got that contractual obligation. Now let's talk about it.
I even had one with me just in case I didn't agree.
Now, but as I mentioned before, you don't want to say, I know you have a hotel in mind, but. All right? You could have said, oh, we both have hotels in mind. They're just not the same hotel. All right? Now, Haley, one of the other things that you did that was very effective, and it's a trap when somebody does this, but I don't think Natalie intended it as a trap. When she showed you the map of Valley, and you said, oh yeah, there's the hotel. You took a minute or two to look. Now, of course, both of these hotels are fictitious, though there is a Regency in Valley, all right? And Natalie said, is that the hotel? No, it's just a fictitious hotel. But it was interesting because this is the 11th time that I've seen this negotiation, and it's been the most collaborative demonstration. Because in previous classes, people were bogged down with why my hotel is better than your hotel. And you don't get anywhere that way. And if the magazine is going to get advertising revenue from both hotels, then you need some way to maximize that revenue for the magazine itself. Okay? Other questions or comments?